We've all heard that phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. My problem is that I think the FM24 DATAHUB is quite broken. This is the DATAHUB, and it's quite in your face. You get a lot of your stats, reports and visuals. You get everything you could want for data is in this DATAHUB. That's not how I'm knocking what the Football Manager producers, Sports Interactive, have done in terms of this. I just think it's not presented very well. It's difficult to go through it. I've actually done a video on the DATAHUB with Bust the Net on his channel previously around how bad it is from someone that works a lot with data, right? I bought the Power BI dashboard, and that shows data around player roles and your best performers and things like that. That, I think, shows data better in a way than this DATAHUB does. Now, what we're going to focus on in today's sort of video, introduction to Python to Football Manager and how I've utilized it, is this player screen. Because whilst all your information is here, for example, if we go to forwards, you can see goal output by forwards, and you've got your non-penalty XG per 90 minutes against open play expected assists per 90 minutes. It gives you a nice enough looking graph, pretty simple to understand when you look at the axes and the highlighted quadrants, and then you get a mess. This absolute mess. So I can see Jamie Byron Gittens there. I don't know who's behind him. I don't know who that player is there that I'm trying to hover over. It's definitely not Jonas Wind. It's Karim Adeyemi. There we go. This is showing what I think is everybody who plays in a similar position in the league and how they're doing, right? I can't zoom in on this anymore. I can't make it bigger. I can't filter the data down. I can't be like, great, just show me people that have got over 0.25 non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes. So it'd be the axes would change, obviously, but I can't. I don't care. I don't care about these people that have got this rubbish non-penalty XG down here. They're not going to be in my mind. I don't worry about that. I want to use the DATAHUB in Football Manager to help me assess my squad, find transfer targets that are better than people I've already got in my squad, and see how my squad match up to other people in the same division, in the same country, in the same continent, but I want to do it on my terms. I want this to be fluid. I want this to be able to be moved, changed. Don't start the ratio at 0. I don't care for people that have not won over or less than 50% of their headers they've challenged for. I want to go and look at everybody who's better than that to try and find them, to make it easier. That's what I think this part of the DATAHUB should be doing. It should be an all-in-one tool that allows you to assess your squad, the same people in the league, transfer targets you're looking for. It should all be available in this DATAHUB, right? Good. I'm glad we agree. That's what I've designed. So in this Football Manager universe, I have overtaken Dortmund. They are underperforming what they should be doing in the league. They're currently in 6th. They've played 20 games. They've got 33 points. They are a long way off Bayern Munich at the top of the table. They're doing all right in the Champions League. They're into the quarterfinals of the Pokal Cup. But I'm going to use them as an example for my tool that I've created in Python. Now, Borussia Dortmund, they've got a decent squad. They've got a decent squad in this universe. As you can see, I've only just loaded in. And they're underperforming what they should be. They've got a host of strikers. They've got Guirassy, Baya's out on loan. Obviously, Adeyemi, Moukoko, all can play up front. I want to use the example that I just showed you in the DATAHUB of how do I find a better performing striker that is in the Bundesliga and go from there and see what we can do. At the moment, we have 12 goals with Moukoko, 7 goals with Brandt, 6 with Romas, and Guirassy is up there with 5. What I've done is I've set up a very quick search, if we go into players in range, and done strikers in the Bundesliga who are expected goals per 90 minutes over 0.4. That's all I've done. I've exported all this data, which is a file in a view that I'll make downloadable as well. And we're going to put that into my tool and see if what I've created looks better than the DATAHUB. Okay, so I've created this landing page to host all of my stuff in Football Manager. We've got the links at the bottom if you're ever going to go on YouTube, join the Discord, send me an email, or go and follow me on Twitch where I stream live for the Europa FC save with Gibraltar. But yeah, clf-fm.card with 2 Rs.co. It's a free domain to host this page, basically. It makes my life a hell of a lot easier. The Power BI that I've touched on a previous video, I'll try and link it in the top right corner for you if you want to go and look at that. is available for a free download. You just have to click this link. There's a README file in there about how to use it, and all the filters and files you need are stored in that zip file as well. However, today we're going to be focusing on the two other tools, the data analysis tool and the player role finder. The player role finder is drawn from Power BI dashboard, so that's quite similar if you're aware of that. But today we're going to use the data analysis tool. So coming through here, it will take you to this screen where you need a password. You have to be a YouTube channel member or Twitch subscriber to get the password. That is all done through the Discord. So if you want to use this tool, you can sign up for like $1 a month on channel membership or drop a subscription over at Twitch, and that will get you the password that will get you into this. The password will be changing every month or so, and I think as we progress more through the game and like when we get a bit more news of FM26 and things like that, I'll probably make this tool free. But for now, it's taken me hours to develop it, so I just feel like only having it as a very small charge for people to access sort of makes sense because I've invested a lot of time in this. Right, now what you do is you go and find the file that you want to go and upload. For me, that's called transfer data in here. You drop that in and it'll automatically then populate all of these tabs if you want to see them. Now we are obviously Borussia. I should have picked a team that I can spell their name a lot easier. It's SSIA Dortmund, but then it's only one R. I always put two R's in for some reason. It's one R. There we go. So Borussia Dortmund is now in there. I've put Dortmund, there we go. That's in there. And we are focusing on strikers. Now, obviously, we can look at all of these. We can go through them and see what it looks like. But once you're in here, what we want to look at really is XG over underperformance v shots on target. Now, this is everybody in the Bundesliga who is a striker, is natural at striker, and has expected goals per 90 minutes at 0.4 or above. What it does is it puts us down into quadrants, so you can see very similar to the DATAHUB, but a little bit more spaced out, a little bit bigger, and we've put in that remit of 0.4 to go from it. Now, the other thing we can do, we can move the scales if we want to have a look, so we could just be like, well, I'm not fussed about people that are under their XG, so why don't we just, I didn't mean to do that. Double click to zoom back out. There you go, you learn something new every day. So we could just shift it here and be like, we're only interested in people that have got a overperformance in XG. You can always shift it this way and then go back and look at the other side if you want to, but there's literally no need to do that because you want the overperformers. Now, you also get this little scale up here that gives you a diamond if it's your player. Overconfident finisher. That is Sarah Guirassi. Little breakdown in there. He's got an XG overperformance of 0.22. He's had 16 shots in target in the first part of the season. You can very, very quickly see that this person here, El Bilal Toure, is the best player that we've filtered down through that quick search. And it's that easy. Like, straight away, it's so much more spread out with the data. It's so easy to go and look and find, and the quadrants help you to do that. Now, because of the size of the tool in the DATAHUB, I don't think that's as easy, right? So you've got El Bilal Toure out there. You can note him down, go and find him in the search, and go and have a look at his attributes, see if he fits what you want him to do, look at his player traits and everything like that. You can also then look at Patrick Schick. You could go and look at Marvin Perginga. You go and look at Maximum Schid. You can go and look at Jorg Wurtzen, who are all outperforming their XG. They're just not having as many shots on target, which you could argue is a positive as well, right? They're outperforming their XG on less shots, which is fine. The other thing we can do is then go and look at, are they creating clear-cut chances for other people? The general answer here is no. However, these two are. Victor Boniface is a complete forward. Dion Dren Biello is a complete forward, creating a lot of chances and having plenty of shots on target themselves. I just feel like you can click through this so much easier than anything in the DATAHUB. This is done by 3 clicks and we're looking at all these different things. I just feel like it's so much easier to do, so much better. Minutes played versus attacking contributions. So these people are playing a lot of minutes. You've got consistent contributors. Victor Boniface up there again. El Bilal Toure up there again. So you can see what's going on. Both of them outperforming Seru Guirassi. You've got one down here as an inefficient starter, potentially, where they're not having too much attacking contributions but playing a lot of minutes. DeAndre and Biello in there as well. And you can just go and look at everything. You want someone that's a bit more of an exciting Jack Grealish sort of player. Look at your possession loss versus excitement. These people are doing very minimal loss of possession per game. I say that, I mean like 15.6 per game is quite a lot, but they've also got a lot of excitement factor for their team. So Victor Boniface, El Bilal Toure, Diondrena Biello. There are 3 players that are consistently coming out in this search that appear to be better than our only striker, who's had more than 0.4 expected goals per minute per 90 minutes in our whole squad. I just feel like this is what the DATAHUB should allow you to see in very easy, clickable graphs that you can adapt, that you can change. You can change the axis if you want to. You can have a look and go around and see, okay, let's get this. So I don't care about anyone else. Let's just put it like that. This is the top right quadrant. These are the best players. Diondrena Biello, Victor Boniface, El Bilal Toure, all up there. They're like the 3 best strikers in the Bundesliga, it would appear, in this save at this time and at this point. Like, they could improve this Bayern Munich, this Borussia Dortmund team. It shouldn't be that hard for FM or SI to implement something this simple within the game. I say this has taken me hours, right? It has. It's taken me multiple hours. I'm one person, and I've coded this on my own, right? Really shouldn't be difficult for it to be implemented into a game to allow you to click through and look at all this stuff. They could make this so much better as well than what I've done. I just feel like this is such a useful tool to see very quickly early on what is happening, what is going on. By the way, minutes played v average rating I think is actually a really good little metric to see who, in theory, could be starting more for you. We haven't managed this Dortmund team, but it looks like they're not actually giving Guirassy that many minutes. 810 minutes in the first half of the season. The date in game is the 2nd of February. And he's got a 6.94. Potentially, he could impress a little bit more. Like, given he's the only striker that's got over 0.4 expected goals per 90 minutes, he probably should be performing. Like, he probably should be getting a few more minutes in game. You can do the same for defenders when you've got your defensive players. Obviously, we're still looking at strikers at the moment, but yeah, you can see Seru Gassi's there in the little diamond to indicate he's your player. And you've got El Bilal Toure, you've got Belliello up there again, Victor Boniface. Even in the defensive stats, those 3 coming out the best. Your ground v aerial dual success, your header win ratio versus your tackle win ratio. Guirassy's doing a good job of that. Dortmund are obviously pressing on the front foot and getting their strikers to do some good work. Shid is up there, Biello's up there. There you go. Igor Matanovic. If you want a defensive, tackling, good pressing forward, he's your man. He's won 100% of his tackles and nearly 60% of his headers as a striker, which is really, really good. Igor Matanovic could be the person for you. I'm going to assume he's going to be quite a big, lumpy boy as well, which could be interesting. You can look at who's progressing their passes. How many people are having good progressive passes going forward with a good completion ratio? Your standout player here probably would be this person here, Karan Tosan. So he's got 97% of his pass accuracy done, and he's 3% of his passes are going progressive, breaking the lines, trying to find people in front of him. That's really good. Like, I feel like this tool just has everything at your fingertips. And if there's things else that you wanted to see, I could code them in relatively easily. As long as the stats or the attributes or the data is in the game, you can code it into this to be relatively easily found. And then it's not very difficult. I'm going to now, let's jump back into the game and we'll pull out another bit of data to go and have a look for, I don't know, a good defender. So here we are back on the player search screen with this filter that I'll include as a download. Right, we want to find a centre-back who is very good in the air, right? Let's just go for a very good in the air. So aerial challenges, they have to have won at least 70% of their headers in the Bundesliga, and then we'll make it a little bit more interesting. And we'll go with minutes played. Let's chuck in minutes played. They have to have played at least 1,000 minutes in this first half of the season, right? You can see we've got a couple of Dortmund players in there, so hopefully they come out near the top. You just highlight everyone, go into FM, print screen, web page, save it as, I'll keep it as transfer data for now. Pull that out of there, go back into the tool. Once you've done the password once, as long as you don't close the window, you're fine. Get rid of that file, load the next file in, transfer data, that quickly loads in. You can type your name back in again, which is, oh, you can see I was doing it for Europa Point there, live on stream, and I've used it in my Youth to Glory save as well. Yeah, Dortmund, like that. and then we can look at defenders. So we're looking for somebody that we know they've got a minimum of 70% win ratio for their headers, right? So let's get someone who is also very good at winning their tackles. And look at that, would you believe it? It is Sildia. Well, so at the club, this time it's actually changed it to circles. So circles are here. So Nico Schlotterbeck is actually winning a lot of his tackles, but not winning as much of his headers, as is Nicolas Soulé. But the best defenders you could go and look at getting, in theory, because they've also played over 1,000 minutes, is Attila Cesali, Willy Orban, Patrick Mainka, Cedric Saziga, Edmund Tapsoba, and Kylian Sadilla. So Attila Cesali is there. Let's go back into the game and have a look at him. So we come back into the game and we look for Attila Cesali. There he is. He plays at Hoffenheim at the moment. Cesali's there. He looks very good. You can keep that attributes on. You can use this with attribute marking off. You could go and scout him. You can pick him up for probably quite cheap. He's 30 years old. If that's something that is going to bother you, then you can put an age restriction on it as well and try and find someone younger. But if you're going to sign the best players you can sign, he is statistically this season one of the best players for winning aerial duels and winning tackles on the ground as well. And of course, I think he's going to perform brilliantly for you. Look how good he looks. And he's got a good personality. I just think that tool is massively going to help you out. It's massively going to be better than what the DATAHUB can do, in my opinion. Let's say you're looking for a centre-back that you want someone who is going to win back a lot of possession more than what they lose, right? Let's go and have a look at that. Possession lost all the way down here. These are defenders. They don't lose possession very often. They're obviously, we found people that have just got good, well possession stats, and they're winning it a lot. Right at the top, Nico Schlotterbeck, probably the best defender in this remit that we can find. But next to him, Diego Lietti is up there, a Portuguese player that I've signed previously in Football Manager. Edmund Tapsoba, Piero Hincape. There you go. I've never heard of this guy. Tim C.S. Leben. Let's go and have a look at him in the game. So we go back into the game. We look down here. There he is, Tim C. Leben at Heidenheim. He is winning back possession a hell of a lot for his team. And his team aren't brilliant in terms of the Bundesliga. 8 to 12 million pounds. What's he? 27, so you're going to be signing him in his peak. It just helps you narrow down and very quickly find the people you need. Of course, if you've got loads of people in this list, then just search for them up here when you find them. It's really not that difficult. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, but I think the DATAHUB is incredibly inefficient for what it needs to do for you. The other thing that we can do, we'll do one last little example of this tool, right? Let's get rid of all of these. Of course, when you're doing this, you do need to go into edit search and you do need to make sure that your own players are included in it. But let's just go in and go, we'll press OK for that. We'll change this and just go general. We'll go, club, and go, they've got to be playing for Borussia Dortmund, right? Easy peasy. This is where I think it will probably benefit more people than most rather than the player search. Come in here, Borussia Dortmund, anyone that's played more than 1 minute for our senior team in Borussia Dortmund this year. It's quite a long list, but again, you can take it out of here, print screen, web page, or just put it into transfer data again. You can call it whatever you want. The name doesn't matter. We go back into the tool. You can browse a file. Transfer data, obviously this time we don't need to put the club name in because everybody is at Borussia Dortmund anyway. We're only comparing our people here. Go right to the bottom, minutes played, the average rating. So who could be better? So 7.4, Jonathan Tah. He's played 796 minutes and he's got a 7.48 average rating. Should we be playing him a little bit more in this game? Jan Caruto, 1,279 minutes, 7.45. Look at this bastard, Giovanni Reina. Less than 500 minutes, but when he plays, he's averaging 7.02. Could be getting a bit more game time. On the flip side of it, you've got people up here. Amadou Diante, 6.91, but has played nearly 2,600 minutes. Would you be expecting him to be above a 7? You've got the same with Makoku. You've got Sally Ozcan up here as well. You've got people that Emre Can, 6.84. It's not a bad rating, but when you compare it to the squad, he's not playing as well as his peers. You've got people down here, Reni Ben Sabiani, 225 minutes, a 6.38. He is not taking his chances when he makes it. Who is our best defensive player at the club? Ground v aerial dual success. That's what I think determines who is the best defender. Weirdly, it's Emre Can, so he might not be getting good ratings, but defensively he's doing everything that he needs to do. He's winning his headers and he's winning his tackles. right? I just feel like it's such an easy way to look at your squad and see who is doing very, very well. But why can't the data hub be this easy? That's what annoys me. Progressive passing v dribbling. Who in your team is very much a dribbly boy and doesn't like to pass? Who in your team is a passer and doesn't like to dribble, right? That's these two quadrants here. You've got your very good progressive passers per 90 minutes, and you've got your very good dribblers per 90 minutes. So Adeyemi likes to get the ball and dribble. Bjorn Gittins likes to get the ball and dribble. Jan Kyoto, Giovanni Reina, Julian Brand, Julian Dranville. Wingers, basically. People that play out wide. That's what we want. However, Ben Sabiani is progressively moving the ball forward a lot of times in his few minutes. Is that a tactical instruction? Is that something we need to go and look at? Do you want him to be doing that in your tactic? Julian Rierson, Met Mulder, Stiller, Ozcan, like Anton is up there, Sabitzer, Emre Can, Nicholas Soule. I mean, if I could adapt this to do one thing, I'd make the size of their circles relative to the amount of minutes they've played. That's what I would do. That's how I would change my own system. I'm already thinking about how to improve it. I just think they need to make the data hub in FM26 really, really good and simple. That simple. I think I've proved how simple it can be. So going back to the homepage, the other thing, now that I've calmed down a little bit from that, is the player role finder. This is the other thing that I've introduced for this. Again, it's got a password on it. You'll get that as being a channel member or a Twitch subscriber, and it's the same process. You input the password, you can upload a file. So if we jump back into the game, I'll show you what you need for this one. Very similar to the Power BI. We're just going to do this with the first team at the moment, but you can load in my attributes all outfield filter on here. You just do the same thing. You go to print screen. Again, it doesn't matter what you call this as in the web page. We'll call it outfield attributes because that's the one I use. It already exists. We'll put that into the tool. Loading it into the tool is simple. Browse files, find the one it's called, outfield attributes. It loads that in, and bosh, there you go. You can look at any of your players and find out what their best role is. Let's look at Lotka. Oh, he's a goalkeeper. That's not going to help. Let's look at Guirassy. His best role is a poacher, right at the top. He's the second best poacher in the club, to be honest, is what we've been told here. Yeah, you can look at there, view top player per role. So advanced forward is Mokoku, attacking midfield is Sheldrup. Sheldrup's up there quite a bit. Like, it's just so easy to help you out, right? You can look. Everyone's best role is highlighted on here. Like, they all get a green cell to say what their best role is at the club, what they can do the best if you want to use them in a certain role, certain position. A touch on here, you can filter it and be like, okay, I only want to see people that are 15 or above in certain roles. That reduces the amount of people on the system. We've got a really good squad here. Right, okay, let's have a look at people that are 16 or above. 17. Who is 17? How many people have we got that are like elite in a role? 1. Yusuf Mokoku. He is elite as an inverted forward on attack. All right, let's put that down to around about 16.5, right? And there you go. You've got Sheldrup, Enganche, Stiller, Enganche, Julian Brandt, Enganche. This team loves Enganches, it seems. But yeah, you can just get this idea of who's really good. Jonathan Tah, really good and equally as good as a ball player or normal centre-back. Nico Schlotterbeck is a no-nonsense centre-back on defend. But again, Nico Schlotterbeck's very good in absolutely everything, right? And then you can come down. Let's lower it again to around about 16, and you can see who's really good at who's got a role of some sort above 16 is what this is. And it just lets you see very quickly where your players have the attributes to match what role. The next step you can do down here, show players outside the top N in every role. So let's go and have a look at players that are outside the top 10. Markel Lotka, he's a goalkeeper, so that's probably a little bit harsh saying he's outside the top 10. What is interesting though is Gregor Kobel, the other goalkeeper, is inside the top 10 for an outfield position. That's bizarre. Let's have a look at who's outside the top 5. That makes you a few more people. These are the sort of players you'd look at to potentially look to cull, move on at the end of the season. They're outside the top 5 in every single role and position in the game, in your squad. They're probably not worth keeping around. Just to remember, consider your goalkeepers. Kobel and Lotka in here, we'd remove them from this list and go from there. But yeah, it works on what the Power BI does and just makes it a little bit easier to use and a little bit easier for your eyesight. And that is a very quick video of how I've used Python. Now, if you are interested, this is the code. I'll very quickly flash this up on screen. I've developed it in GitHub. Obviously, I've done the coding on the side in a separate app on my computer. But yeah, we've just coded it all out in here to understand what is going on. Now, don't worry, you can't find the password in here. The password is protected in another document. But yeah, we've just utilized coding to help us upload a file, make that file readable, put that file into graphs, and then make those graphs closable, openable, whatever you want to do. This is the same for this one. The players one is a little bit different with the coding because it has to highlight cells and stuff. The hardest bit for me was getting the HTML file to be read as data so that we could then make that a table to make that into graphs. It's actually relatively easy for me to now develop a new graph as long as I can pull that data out of the game. So if there's anything you want to see, just let me know. Just let me know. But we'll leave it there. That is how I've used Python in Football Manager to improve my game, my experience, my love of data, pulling out data of the game. What I do want to do is have a series where we're utilizing this in the game. Keep your eyes peeled for that. That'll be starting pretty soon. That's going to be replacing the Austin FC save that finished very recently. The folks in Invicta save will carry on going where I am utilising this stuff in the background, but I don't think you really need to understand and really need to see it every single time. Come and join me on stream. I stream on YouTube and on Twitch, twitch.tv/culturedleftfoot, where we're using Europa Point FC, and I'm going to be diving heavily into the data. I've decided we're going to be using a new formation based on what the data is telling us and our players. We're basically going to go and sign the best players we can sign every year because we're such a rubbish team. We're just going to sign the best players we can, pick them in their best roles and pick a formation around that, and it should be ultimate chaos. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you have, subscribe if you're new, and remember, if you're a channel member or a Twitch subscriber, in the private part of the Discord, all the links are in the description below, you can access the password for this tool. I really hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy using it. Any questions, drop them in the Discord, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.